Now on 4, Mat Fraser gives his own frank and uncompromising view of sex and disability.
So let's strip down to the freak fucking basics.
Anyway, one day somebody suggested, why don't you play drums, Matt? And everyone suddenly laughed. And obviously, although I masked it, it really hurt a lot. And so I decided to take up the drums just to fuck them all. No, actually, that's complete bollocks.
Anyway, I'm getting kinda distracted. This song's about me, you, sex, and the practice of having the libido of a normal sexuality. And with it confronting the straight world's reality. Straight world for the purpose of this song means people who are not disabled and won't let this be hateful.
I remember once I was at a party, and I was rolling a spliff, and I suddenly became aware of this woman looking at me. She had this, like, gaze of wonderment on her. And I didn't know what it was. I thought she might have been out of it at first. And now, after a while, I realised that she just thought I was amazing because I was rolling a spliff. And her hand came out, and she just grabbed hold of my arm like this and started to feel it. And I was, like, outraged, because I was rolling a spliff. And I didn't know what to do. So I've just thought instant justice. So I just put my hand out and tweaked her on the nipple. And she pulled back and looked at me all like, oh, you bastard, and you've got no right, and all that. And I said, look, it's the same, all right? As far as you're concerned, my arms are your breasts, and they're both private property.
So let's strip down to the freak fucking basics and address the ones to whom this idea makes sick.
Well, I met one woman one time, and the very first thing she said to me was, how do you wipe your ass? Do you have to be on the bottom when you shag? No, do you have to be lying down? And I got to know her quite well, and we became quite good friends. And as it happened, coincidentally, about a year later, we slept together, and it was really, really good. And I was able to show that, no, indeed, I didn't have to lie on the bottom. And we had a really nice time, and she was very, very complimentary.
Yes, I have a penis. Why should it seem incredible? I'd like to have access to someone who finds it edible. Does my physical difference put up a barrier? Are you scared of fuck your sister? Or even worse, marry her? That's right, I said fuck.
I suppose I have been guilty one time of freak fucking. Well, I think it was all in the best possible taste. Was when I met a girl who had exactly the same physique as me. Her short arms were the same as mine. And we ended up going to bed together. And whilst nothing was said, I was sure the hidden agenda was we both wanted to see, as an experiment, what it was like to sleep with someone like us. As it was really nice because there were no long arms and elbows and long forearms to get in the way, and we were able to get much closer, literally, to each other. So you know, our hearts were closer to each other, and it was a very warm and cozy little shag. Sorry.
Do you find that offensive? I just want to shake you up, and maybe you will then give consideration to the concept that disabled people have passion. And personally, I'd like to work towards it becoming high fashion.
People often say, you know, you thalidomide think you're different from everybody else, and I think we are in one respect. You know, to a certain age group, say from 30 to 60, we represent what our disability does represent, which is corporate crime at its worst. It is the result of man-made meddling, you know. What really bugs me is that it was sold for 4 years. In America, after the test, they just banned it outright, but it was continued to be sold for 4 whole years here. Someone somewhere must be responsible for making profit at the cost of people's disabilities, knowingly. And I would very much like 5 minutes in a darkened room with that person so that I could do what had to be done to them as slowly and as painfully as possible. You know, in Germany, only 2/3 of my babies survived because 1/3 of them were just literally culled at birth. And one can only assume, and you know, the doctors there must have been, at the oldest you can be for a doctor is what, 60? That means there must have been some 60-year-old doctors doing that who would have been in their middle ages during the Second World War, and we all know what German doctors were doing and who they were killing.
Please don't label me a perverted vulture. All I've done is reject your body fascist culture. Please don't label me a perverted vulture. All I've done is reject your body fascist culture. You motherfucker!
obviously, I'm like everybody else. I want to be considered as attractive as possible. But being at the bottom of the slag heap, in the file marked unusable, you carry that around with you all the time, and you can be normal, and then somebody can just make it apparent that's how they feel. Or even around here, I get a lot of just, oh my God, and things like this, you know, overt comments. And it really cuts in, even though I don't show it. You know, that can happen on the bus on the way down to the tube, and all day, if I get you know, I'll be looking for like a nice look from someone. If I get a nice flirtatious or just pleasant look from somebody, it can re-establish my, yeah, like that. It can re-establish my feeling of self-worth or whatever, you know, hey, I'm attractive and it's okay.
Yes, I made mistakes and I've been in danger. Just thank your lucky stars, I'm not an obsessive avenger. Like any disabled ego, I've had to shout from the rafters. Disabled people, shag like bastards. Just in order to make people think, and in the past it has resulted in being asked for a job. Trouble is, most of the time, the effect is opposite. I'm about likely to succeed as a fresh pile of dog shit. Still, I've been trying for 17 years, and despite the many rejections, I've had a few beers. Even when the person's motives are suspicious, I just make the freak fucking sex more vicious.
Obviously, it gets extremely confusing. I think I've been out with a lot of people for a lot of dodgy reasons without realising it at the time, you know. Definitely, without a doubt, I'm if you're a nice young girl with a vicar father or something, and you want to rebel by bringing home, you know, a fucking nightmare, I think I present a pretty good fucking nightmare at the doorstep of my vicarage doorsteps. Another thing could be like a girl that is sick and tired of her macho geezers will look at me and immediately perceive me to be sort of helpless or sort of different, and you know, that can be attractive. I fancy something a little different for the weekend, you know, or freak fucking, just straight down the line. My God, that's, you know, fetishization, I suppose, of my disability. You know, they just want to fuck with me just to see what it's like. When I was 7, my mum took me to Guy's Hospital, and it was the first, I was in a waiting room. It was the first time I'd ever seen other people, little people with short arms and legs. And I was ushered into this room, which she wasn't there, and there were 3 men behind a desk in suits, and they said that behind me, in a filing cabinet that was too tall for me, in the top drawer, was a drawer full of sweets. So without hesitating, I picked up a chair, I took it over there, I got on the chair, opened the drawer, put my hand in and got some sweets. And they looked at each other and wrote £15,000.
Seeking this hit is like addiction to narcotics, denying your humanity, pursuit of the robotic. It's like any good drug, it kills reality, but the dragons chase have a terrible duality. Along with my feeling of acceptance, I'm a survivor. It's the spot point scoring of having fucked an outsider.
When I met this girl, and she had her own agenda, which was that she'd been abused by her father, and some sort of catharsis for her was to sort of have violent sex. At first I found it quite uncomfortable, you know. I felt I was, in being very dominant in the sex, I was perpetrating the father's violence or perpetrating her fuck up. But then I guess my head was pretty fucked up as well. We started going to a lot of S&M clubs because we felt confident as a couple. And I really liked them at first because, you know, they're full of lowlife, basically, and other people who've been rejected by society. And there was all these weird people, and they'd look up and I'd walk in and they'd think, oh, he's pretty weird. Anyway, as I was saying. And then that would be it. They wouldn't look at me at all. And unfortunately, like most things, I suppose, it's become very fashionable. I lost interest a while back now because what happened was, the reason I used to like those clubs was because they weren't like the other clubs, which was people who used to just look at you like, what the fuck are you doing here? This is a club. Haven't you got any decency? You know, that's literally what they were looking at me. And, you know, sure enough, a rubber skirt does not a perv make, because, you know, I'm seeing those same looks in these fetish clubs that I used to really enjoy. I'm finding that I'm being vibed out of them, you know.
In a world of isolation, from Steve Diggle to a crip masturbating. The second one's disabled and that's wanking a lot. The first one plays the guitar for the buzz cut. Anyway, I'm getting kinda distracted. This song's about me, you, sex, and the the practice of having the libido of a normal sexuality, and with it confronting the straight world's reality. Straight world, for the purpose of this song, means people who are not disabled and would like to be equal. So let's strip down to the freak fucking basics and address the ones to whom this idea makes sick. Yes, I have a penis, why should it seem incredible that I'd like to have access to someone who find it edible? Does my physical difference put up a barrier? Are you scared of fuck your sister, or even worse, marry her? That's right, I said fuck. Do you find that offensive? I just want to shake you up and maybe you will then give consideration to the concept that disabled people have passion. And personally, I'd like to work towards it becoming high fashion. Please don't label me a perverted vulture. All I've done is reject your body fascist culture. Please don't label me a perverted vulture. All I've done is reject your body fascist culture. You motherfucker! Yes, I made mistakes and I've been in danger. Just thank your lucky stars I'm not an obsessive avenger. Like any disabled ego, I've had to shout from the rafters. Disabled people, shag like bastards. Just in order to make people think, and in the past it has resulted in being asked for a drink. Trouble is, most of the time the effect is opposite. I'm about likely to succeed as a fresh pile of dog shit. Still I've been trying for 17 years, and despite the many rejections, I've had a few beers. Even when the person's motives are suspicious, I just make the freak fucking sex more vicious. That's not true, I just prefer the profanity to the truth, which is feeling raped by insanity. Seeking this hit is like addiction to narcotics, denying your humanity. Pursuit of the robotic, it's like any good drug. It kills reality, but the dragons chase have a terrible duality. Along with my feeling of acceptance, I'm a survivor. It's the smug point scoring of having fucked an outsider.
A startling and shocking film about an Italian performer